For years, my husband and I shared a bond that felt solid, filled with love and rooted in mutual admiration. However, just weeks ago, I made a mistake so significant that it may have fractured the very foundation of our relationship. It happened during a night when we were both under the influence of alcohol and marijuana, laughing and enjoying a light-hearted moment. He posed a playful question, clearly intended as part of our usual teasing dynamic. He asked if I wanted something big. It was meant to be flirtatious, just a continuation of our banter. But instead of responding with affection or humor, I said something I've regretted ever since. Something bigger would be nice. I can't explain why those words came out. They weren't planned or meant to wound him. It was an offhand comment, unfiltered and thoughtless. While there might be a vague, abstract truth in wondering how things could be different, it never reflected dissatisfaction with him. I love my husband deeply and chose him because he's the person I want to spend my life with. But my careless words cut him deeply, whether or not I intended harm. My response implied that he wasn't enough, that I had settled, and that he lacked something essential. Since that moment, our relationship has changed in ways I never imagined. The man who once greeted me with warmth and affection now keeps his distance. Our evenings, once filled with shared laughter and conversation, have been replaced by silence. He spends most of his time in the garage, a space that used to be his personal sanctuary for hobbies, but has now become a refuge from me. It's where he hides from the hurt I caused. The closeness we once had, both emotional and physical, has vanished. Our discussions are strained and brief, if they happen at all. The small gestures of affection, like holding hands, kissing, or sitting close, are now absent. Intimacy is no longer part of our lives. He has emotionally shut me out, and I feel powerless to reach him. I've apologized again and again, trying to express how sorry I am for my careless words. I've told him how much I value and love him, but he doesn't believe me. He says my apologies feel hollow and rehearsed, as though I'm simply trying to fix things without sincerity. Worst of all, he believes my comment confirmed his fears, that I've always thought less of him, that I was never truly satisfied, and that my affection and intimacy were never genuine. None of this is true, but I can't make him see that. When I look into his eyes, I see the pain I've caused. My careless remark has become a constant reminder of his insecurities, an echo that won't fade. I suggested that we see a marriage counselor, hoping professional help could guide us through this, but he dismissed the idea outright. Feeling lost, I decided to seek therapy on my own. I shared everything with my counselor. The moment it happened, his reaction, and how things have unfolded since. Her response was difficult to hear. She explained that some relationships don't recover from situations like this, and advised me to prepare for the possibility of separation. Still, she offered advice on how to navigate the present. She encouraged me to demonstrate love through actions rather than words, and to avoid pressuring him to talk about the issue unless he was ready. Her suggestion was to create a sense of normalcy and let my behavior quietly show my commitment. I've followed her guidance as best as I can. I've smiled at him when he comes home, reminded him that I love him, and tried to bring a sense of normalcy back into our lives. Yet, his demeanor remains cold, and his distance feels insurmountable. One morning, overwhelmed by guilt and sorrow, I broke down and pleaded with him to talk to me. His response was devastating. He told me to stop trying, said he didn't care anymore, and added that the only reason he hadn't filed for divorce was to avoid losing the house or his savings. Hearing those words shattered me. I tried to explain that my comment was unintentional, that I loved him and regretted everything. But he cut me off, telling me to leave him alone. It felt like my world had collapsed, and for the first time, I began to accept that our marriage might not survive. And then, just days later, something shifted. He came to me, tears running down his face, and admitted that he still loves me. He expressed regret for some of the harsh things he'd said, and confessed that he doesn't want to end our marriage. Yet, he also acknowledged that he's still hurting and needs time to process his emotions. He asked for space, and I agreed. The path ahead is uncertain and undoubtedly difficult. The damage caused by my words is profound, and healing will require patience, understanding, and time. This experience has taught me an unforgettable lesson about the weight of words and how they can leave scars even when there's no malice behind them. For now, I'm focusing on showing my love and commitment in every way I can. I'm not giving up on us. I still believe in our relationship and in the man I married. He's worth fighting for, and so is the life we built together.